So as of recent, I think I have something called the sketchbook slump. This is where at some point in your sketchbook, you just stop drawing in it, and I kind of don't want that to happen. So we're gonna break that today. So hi everyone, I'm Ward and welcome to my channel Wardrawsalot, and today we're gonna do a sketchbook spread together. So this is actually something that happens to me with, I think, every single sketchbook I've ever had. It mostly happens towards the end of the sketchbook when I have only like between 10 and something pages left, where all of a sudden I just don't want to draw in it anymore. And I don't know why it happens every single time, but I think it has something to do with my habits as a younger artist. You see, when I was younger, I only was like allotted 2 sketchbooks a year, and that's because of, well, school shopping. So in September I would get a sketchbook, and then at the end of the year, towards like January or something, if we needed a refresh on school supplies, we'd get another sketchbook. Outside of that, we really couldn't afford any, so I had to just make do with what we had, which was 2 sketchbooks a year, which I was extremely grateful just to have that, and I still am now. Anything outside of the school year that was drawn was either because I saved that paper, which is again kind of where this sketchbook slump habit happens, where I wouldn't touch the end of the sketchbook, so I'd have drawing paper during the summer, or if I was lucky enough to, go see my dad, I would grab some printer paper from his office whenever, I could go see him. So I think I can link, the whole sketchbook slump habit back to that. And this is something that I've continued to keep even in my adulthood as a, I guess, quote-unquote bad habit, but was it really a bad habit if it was just me trying to stretch out what I had? I honestly don't know. But it's a habit that I have kept in adulthood, and one that I want to try and not do, but at the same time, that's like a really high expectation to a degree, right? And let me tell you why. It's just for the sole fact that at some point, whatever you're doing, even if it's not, a hobby or a craft, if it's work or something in your existence or life in general, you need a break. Even if this is something that you enjoy, you're always going to need some kind of break from it, just so your brain can have a nice reset and you can come back to it with fresh eyes. So even though it's a habit of mine, maybe it's not too bad of a habit in the long run, just because I get to have a nice little reset of it all. But regardless, sometimes I do hate the sketchbook slump. Mostly because, I like to draw and I like to do videos, but sometimes it just gets the better of me. Now, when it comes to the sketchbook slump, I feel like that is different entirely from something that many artists know as art block. I hate the word art block, just for reference. I feel like we've manifested its power to create like a sense where we can't draw anything, and it's literally, the art block. So I don't like using the word art block. I forgot there was something else I used to like to use instead, just because I feel like a block is such a heavy word. I think it was just art slump or something. I don't know, honestly. But I feel like the sketchbook slump can be independent of the art block, if you know what I mean. Because an art block truly is like, you don't know what to put down on paper, you don't know how to, create at the moment, or nothing is coming up. So I feel like that is different than the sketchbook slump, because I still feel like creating, and I still want to draw, and I still want to do all that stuff, just not in a sketchbook at the moment. At least that's what it felt like until I did this, sketchbook spread, and I was like, damn, maybe I should get back to the sketchbook. I don't know, she's kind of nice. I have recently, though, I've been getting an itch to do digital art. Now, for reference, for those of you who don't know, I haven't done digital art in, I think, almost a year now? Probably almost a year? No, maybe like 8-9 months, something like that, whatever. But it's been a while since I've done any digital art, and it's just because the feeling of digital art, I don't like it sometimes. There's a heavy disconnect for me between, the screen and the like digital pen versus like actual paper and pens and markers. It's also the fact that, I actually like the smell of my art materials. I like the smell of paper. I like the smell of the pencils and the markers and everything. It feels like, I'm actually doing art. Digital art is art, 100%. Do not get me wrong, it is. And it's incredible the amount of artists I see do digital art, and they do it so incredibly well. Oh my god, I wish I was that good, but I need to practice it more to be even nearly as good as they are. But regardless, the whole point, I like to do traditional art just because it makes me feel very, I guess, at home, makes me feel very like hearty. Like every time I pick up a pencil, I'm like, man, I love doing this. So there's a disconnect with me and the screen when it comes to digital, but as of recent, like I said, I've wanted to try and get back into it. And I think it would be nice to do like little digital drawings in between, because although I love traditional art, it's a process, dude. Getting out everything, thinking about what you're gonna do, and like putting it all together traditionally is a lot of work. It takes hours upon hours. When it comes to digital art, it does take hours upon hours, but at the very least, it's very like grab and go, you know what I mean? You could just take out your tablet or your drawing device and you could just go ahead and start drawing. There's no like in-betweens and stops and thinking about where your supplies are, gathering up your colors, everything like that. Although that's like a wonderful part of the traditional process, sometimes it's also taxing. So honestly, I don't know. It's so like 50-50 with me, because I like both for their own things, but at the same time, I like, you know, traditional art more than I do digital. I think it's just genuinely me after 9 months or something like that, having the itch to actually go ahead and try it. I get that all the time. It's not just with digital. Every once in a while, I'll get the itch to do like painting, and I suck at painting. I'm the worst. It always looks like so busted at the end of the painting, and it sucks so bad, but sometimes I get the itch to do it anyway. That, and I've recently got the itch again to do gouache, and I'm like, yo, that's like a no man's land right there. That's like the worst of me. You will get the worst of me if you ever see me do gouache, which I've done maybe 2 or 3 times on this channel, and it looks like booty every time, but I enjoy doing it. So honestly, at the end of the day, it's what you enjoy doing and how much like of yourself you really put into it. If I practiced those other mediums more, I would get better at them. But those mediums aren't like my, I guess, favorite medium. Markers are. And the reason why I've gotten so good with markers is because I do it so often. But just because I'm not good at something or some art medium, it doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. I'm somebody who likes to try things constantly and go back to it and give myself the freedom to not bind myself to the one thing. Some artists are like, I only work in paint, I only work in this or that, and that's cool. If it works for you and you like it, that's beautiful, and I love that for you. But I'm somebody who likes to jump around, and it's fun to jump around. I like the idea that I can test my skills elsewhere in different mediums, see how it comes out, and either loving or hating the piece, which I'm gonna be honest, most of the time I do love my pieces, even if even if they're like completely fucked up. I'm still gonna like them because I put all that effort in and I was happy doing it. It's always so much more enjoyable to love your art when you sit there and think about why you love your art. If you sit there after you draw and everything and you critically analyze it to a degree where it's just imperfection, you're not gonna like what you do and you're not gonna like your art. Everybody, I feel like if you're doing your art, you should love it a little bit more, because that's a piece of yourself. If you look at a piece of yourself and you don't like it, it's going to be harder to like the whole thing. So if we look at it with a less critical lens and a more loving one, I feel like art will become a much more enjoyable process for everybody, you know? Now, after that wonderful yapping session, what I want to do is talk about the sketchbook spread for a minute. The main thing that I really wanted to draw was jeans. Sometimes I want to like explore fabrics when it comes to coloring them in, because you can give them a certain look and it'll look, you know, like really cool. So I wanted to make sure I did some kind of jean fabric on a character, and I very much went online and I looked up different jean outfits and like, I guess, celebrities wearing these outfits that were like really like jeaned up in the early 2000s. There was so many of them. Jeans were so popular and I never even realized. One of the pictures that stood out to me was this one right here, and I was like, I kind of want to create a character around this guy right here. So I went ahead and I did a jean vest on him with a baggy pair of jeans as well. I did put the sweater under just because I wanted to do that. I think that's like a cute combo in my opinion. Maybe not everybody is gonna like think that is a cute combo, but for me it gives me like modern mixed with early 2000s. I did put a do-rag on him. This was my first time drawing a do-rag. I've never done one before, but I looked up some images on like what they look like and how they are tied up in the back and everything. And I truly I fell in love with how it looks on him. I feel like it suits his personality so well. Like he just gives it off very well. Like I don't know what it is, but he gorgeous. I'm sorry. He's so pretty. So I really like the way it looks on him, how it's tied. I did decide to go with just the simple black silky, you know what I'm talking about. It's just something very classic about it that just looks right to me every single time. I also like how composed and cool, chill the character looks, and I decided to also draw the waves to the side over here because, you know, from what I've seen, let me know if I'm wrong, please. But silkies are very necessary in order to create some of the best waves you've ever seen. So I really wanted to try and draw the wavy hair texture of the waves just because I've never drawn waves myself either, and I kind of want to explore that a little bit. It's hard for me to do short hairstyles in general, and I don't do them very often, number one, because I do like longer hair. In general, I just love longer shoulder length to back length hair. I love it. Shorter hair in general, I'm I don't know. So every once in a while, if I do draw a short-haired character, that's like a miracle. Because I don't unless I really want to try it out. So drawing waves in general, short hair, but it's very textured right from the top, so you could obviously see the texture. I wanted to try and draw that on paper as best as I could because drawing short and then textured hair can be a little difficult to capture on paper, but if I do it right with correct dimensions, it's definitely possible. And I think I, for the most part, did do that. I didn't go ahead and line it in though, because I wanted it to look soft enough, like it was actually hair, so I thought that was cool. I also wanted to do a pose for him just because I wanted to draw the rest of his outfit in, so you could see how baggy the jeans are and his shoes and how the outfit kind of goes together. So I really thought that this kind of pose would definitely bring even more of his character out. I think for my next sketchbook I'm going to get a bigger one because I want to put more of the character on the paper. I tend to only draw from the waist up or portraits, but I really want to add in more of the character just because I want to draw more bodies, and it's fun to actually put the character in a scene and to draw their bodies out and kind of how they are. So I think that for the next one I'm going to go a little bit bigger, so this way I actually have room to draw these characters. I did go ahead and try and add some background elements, like a kind of Polaroid with a wall behind it, or the character sitting up against the wall and the ground, the wavy on top of the waves just because I thought that would look cute, and making the sketchbook spread just dynamic enough in general, kind of calling me in to look at it, which I really like. Overall, I think this character really helped me beat the sketchbook slump. I'm already thinking of different things to draw, and I can't wait to actually go sit down and draw something. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and remember, I love you. Bye!